going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome in another edition here of Mean Streets, and we are taking part in another Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Draft. It's Chris Meaney, Mike Randle at Randle Rant, myself at Chris Meaney. We are just waiting on three other people here. And Mike, happy Tuesday to you. Looking forward to chopping it up again. We have some NFL news today. We just heard that Tyler Boyd signed a 1 year, I think $4.5 million contract with the Tennessee Titans. So he is back with Brian Callahan, who was calling shots in Cincy last year, and now the head coach of the Titans this year.
Yeah, and I think it's great. Again, last time you nailed it, Chris. You talked about stacking Titans and how it was unconventional, and now all of a sudden Will Levis is going to have a myriad of targets in the short to intermediate area of the field. They're building very, very smart way they're building in Tennessee, and that stack looks pretty good now, I think, Chris.
It looks a little bit better. We didn't get Boyd in the stack, but we did get some Titans there. Daily Handle with Jordan Allen. Good afternoon. Means, Randall, and everybody. Welcome in. We're taking part in a live best ball draft here. We're 2 people away. If you're unfamiliar, this is the Best Ball Mania 5, $25 to enter. But if you haven't signed up yet, over at underdogfantasy.com, we have a link inside the description of this video. Promo code FTN. They'll match your first deposit 100% up to $100. $15 million in prizes in this contest alone. There'll be about 670,000 people in the Best Ball Mania 5. In this draft in particular, myself and Randall and 10 others, 12 people, 18 rounds, 30 seconds to pick, $1.5 million to first place, $750K to second, $500K to third. You get your money back and then some if you finish anywhere between 112,000 and 8,000 people. Qualifiers from weeks 1 to 14. NFL schedule, it sounds like next week, Randall. Quarters week 15, semis week 16, and championship week 17. And I know once that schedule comes out, we'll be diving into especially what happens between week 14 and week 17 in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm doing a deep dive right now looking at projected win totals from Vegas. And very excited. Where am I again? I cannot get an early pick to save my life. I'm 12, Chris. What is the problem?
You might be going running back again.
So
I'm at 3, and I'm pretty sure I was at 3 last time. I think I ended up with Tyreek Hill. Maybe we'll try to do something a little bit different this time. Yeah.
God, we do this every time. I just want some variety. I'm not saying it's good or bad to be first or 12th. I just want some variety because I want to try out some different strategies. That's all. I
dig it. We can have like 30 seconds here before we get going to take a look at the early ADP. Of course, we have the ADP tool over at FTNfantasy.com, Underdog ADP tool. Josh Allen, no surprise, quarterback 1, Jalen Hurts 2, Lamar 3, Patrick Mahomes 4, CJ Stroud 5, Anthony Richardson at 6, Joe Burrow 7, Kyler Murray at 8, Dak Prescott, who was quarterback 3 last year, going as the 9th quarterback off the board. The offense looks very similar. They got Zeke back. Jordan Love is quarterback 10. Caleb Williams, your first rookie off the board, quarterback 11. Brock Purdy 12. Tua at 13. Jaden Daniels actually was the first rookie quarterback off the board when you and I drafted last week. He's quarterback 14 here, but I believe he went like quarterback 9 or 10 at T-Law at 15, and we're underway. We'll give you guys a look of the draft board when we get going here, and we'll try to read off some picks too for the iTunes and Spotify people, but we want you guys to hop on over to the YouTube page, subscribe. We'll be doing a lot of these best ball drafts throughout the entire NFL offseason, and CMC at 2 here, so I'm underway. You know, I did go Tyreek last time. I'm kind of with you. I'd like to do something a little bit different here. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. I actually may go with Justin Jefferson here. Yeah, let's go with JJ. Over Tyreek. I do have Tyreek.
I feel so badly for you, Chris. I feel so badly for you.
Not a JJ McCarthy guy. I know this already from you, but you know what? I think he's going to be just fine. Nick Mullins started a couple games last year and had 400 yards in each of those games. I think maybe 390 something. And Justin Jefferson was fine. He'll be fine with McCarthy. I know you don't love him, but he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. No, I was saying it factionally. Like, look at you. Oh, the agony of being stuck with Justin Jefferson. Oh,
that's right. And you're at the back.
Yeah, I'm going to get a big year from Chris Olave. Huge Derek Carr fan I am, as you know. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna have to clip that for my buddy Omi, who loves the Saints. Yeah, so you're coming up here. We'll put the board up for the people. But again, hop on over. You're listening on iTunes and Spotify. We'll do a lot of these. You can watch this draft play out. We'll identify some of our favorite picks throughout and some strategy here when we take a look at the board. So CeeDee Lamb at 1, Christian McCaffrey at 2, Justin Jefferson at 3, Jamar Chase 4, Tyreek falls to wide receiver 5, Bijan Robinson, the second back off the board, pick 6. We're waiting on Randle, who is picking in the 12 spot here. So if you're unfamiliar, best ball, draft and forget it. No waiver wire stuff. Don't have to sit there, on Tuesday night, run through all your teams with some waiver wire, nonsense. I call it that. But if you're in a ton of leagues, it can take a lot of time. You just draft, and that's the best part of fantasy football, is it not? Drafting all these different teams. You say you want to diversify a little bit. You haven't been able to do so just yet, but that's the best part of fantasy is drafting.
What am I going to do here? Because for those that don't know, I love zero RB, and it worked perfectly last year. Amon-Ra, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper in the large majority of my drafts, which was the winning first 3 picks of Best Ball Mania 4. What am I doing? Dear Lord, what am I going to do?
What were the first 3 picks? Say that again.
In some order, it was, for me, it was Amon-Ra because I reached for him, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper. Those were the first 3 picks of the winning bet. So it was exactly what I wanted. 3 receivers who were getting 100 receptions, a lot of targets, focal point of the offense. And even with the fact that the Cleveland quarterback situation was a disaster, it still worked out perfectly. What are we going to do here?
Chris? I wouldn't mind being in the back half of like the 7-8 spot and be able to do a wide receiver with like an Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, maybe a Marvin Harrison on the way back or something. So it's 1 quarterback, 2 backs, 3 wide receivers, a flex, tight end, a 10 bench, and they'll just take your best. Randall's on the clock here now. They just take the best possible or the best scores, of that week. Your 2 running backs, your 3 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then a quarterback.
Just a disaster.
Take AJ, little AJ Brown in your life, but
all right,
you did it. See us looking at these wide receivers. Marv is wide receiver 9 on average off the board. Drake London at 10. Brendan Ayuk 11. Devontae Adams 12. Chris Olave 13. And the second 49er there, Deebo Samuel at wide receiver 15. Drake London. Hey, you got 2 alphas there. You don't like that? I like that start. Wide receiver at the back end of the first. It's not
I see the joke with you like that with Drake London and Kirk Cousins. I got it. I got the joke.
Nothing flies by you. But London, what do you expect, man, with Kirk Cousins going over there? We just haven't been able to see his potential has been capped. And this guy is definitely an alpha wide receiver 1. We're going to see the best season we've ever seen from him this year.
Yeah, he was not getting the targets last year, but that was horrific quarterback play. And what swung me is we've now seen 69 and 72 receptions, 110 and 117 targets with absolute anemic quarterback play. So give me 90 receptions, give me 1,000 yards, and how about 6 touchdowns, and I'll take it.
Yeah, I guess he would. Would you have gone Puka Nacua there? He went just before you. Do you like Puka more than AJ and Drake London?
Yeah, I thought about it. I for some reason I'm averse to AJ Brown. I don't know why. I did think about double tapping him and loading up and drafting both wide receivers on Philadelphia.
Devontae?
Yeah, I did think about doing that with Devonta Smith, but I don't know. I ended up going with London. Because Atlanta, again, projects to have an easy schedule, and they are in a favorable division.
Absolutely. Yeah, all those things do matter in a dome. So the first round looks like this: CeeDee Lamb, Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Bijan Robinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Breece Hall, RB3 off the board, Garrett Wilson. This is the highest I've seen Saquon go yet, 10th pick, RB4, Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, Drake London, Marvin Harrison. So team 10 goes double RB with Saquon, Jonathan Taylor. Team 9, 11 and 12 being you with the double wide receivers. Team 7, same sort of deal. And we have 2 running backs for team 8 with Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs. What do you think of those running back starts, though? You did it last time, but did it feel gross?
No, I think it's fine. It comes down to what you need. No matter how you construct your team, it's what are you looking for? So here comes Dalton Kincaid, okay? So you take Dalton Kincaid this early. What you're saying is this is what I need to happen. You need Kincaid to be the feature receiver in the Buffalo offense. No problem. You take 2 running backs early. All you need, Chris, is health. If they end up being healthy, you're in good shape because you're getting a huge positional advantage against every other team. And that is what I'm looking for here, a positional advantage.
So you've yet to pick near the start of the draft. So you haven't been able to kind of live in this range of the Niners wide receivers. Malik Neighbors is your second rookie running back off the board here. The 11th pick in the second round. I went Mike Evans. I went Mike Evans last time as well. And then you also have the 2 Buffalo Bills, the former Buffalo Bill wide receiver and Stephon Diggs, now Houston Texan with Nico Collins. What do you make of this wide receiver kind of tier with these 2 Texans, the 2 Niners? You got Waddle, DJ Moore, Mike Evans kind of mixed in there as well. If you start with a running back, you can get yourself 2 of those wide receivers. Do you have a preference of any of those? That
I do. I prefer Nico Collins over Stephon Diggs. I think people are thinking that Nico just went, that Diggs is going to have a much larger impact on Collins than I think is going to happen. Tank Dell is still there, but Collins is the wide receiver 1 to me. A wide receiver changing teams late in his career. I think the value of Stephon Diggs is very overestimated on Nico Collins. I like DK Metcalf, who's the number 1 in Seattle. I don't know. DJ Moore, I like, but he was feast or famine until last year with Justin Moore, Caleb Williams, adjustment curve. I don't know. I prefer Collins and I prefer DK Metcalf in that area. Don't mind Devonta Smith either.
Yeah, I'm with you. I prefer Collins, but I think it's going to be fairly close. Like I think it's going to be spread out between the 2, and then you got Tank Dell in there as well. Joe Mixon catching balls out of the backfield. I found it. I don't know. I saw one of these drafts and it's just best ball. So you shoot for your guys and your upside and things like that. So I get it. But I did see Nico Collins go in the first round of one of these drafts as like wide receiver 8 or 9. And I thought that seemed a little rich.
Yeah, I'm impressed with him. And that is a pivot point. Last year, there was a couple pivot points on whether you believe Travis Kelce was going to give you a huge positional advantage. Kawhisenberg in the house. Very nice. Whether Travis Kelce was going to give you a positional advantage. The reason that mattered, Chris, is because if you said yes, then you're taking him early and you're going to have to decide, are you bumping wide receiver or running back down? This is another pivot point. If you think that they're going to cannibalize each other's targets, then the move is to take CJ Stroud and take none of them. But if one does evolve and if Collins continues to perform at the level that he does and he's a red zone target and Diggs is the one who's suppressed, which is my guess, then I think there's value there. So, I think the Houston Texans offense, which is great, which is going to put up a lot of points, which is in a great, very friendly division, is another pivot point this year that you have to decide. How do you want to attack it? Do you want all? Do you want none? Do you want to wait on Joe Mixon and just try to get those cheap goal line touches as they move their way down the field? Or do you think CJ Stroud's going to regress? It's not about me knowing the answers. It's about me telling you what your strategy is. That's basically it.
And CJ is going to cost you a pretty penny. We haven't seen a quarterback go off the board here yet. Derrick Henry is just good value, man. Getting Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry in the third round, and being able to kind of have a hero RB or anchor RB with one of those 2 guys with wide receiver starts, I think is just a terrific strategy to take. Nico, I love Nico, man. I was in on him 2 years ago and maybe just a year too early, but there's just so much I like about his game and big body, 6'4", can go up and get it. And now they got another red zone threat there in Stephon Diggs. So there's Mahomes, first quarterback off the board. You're on the clock here, sir. Jalen Waddle. So still a heavy wide receiver draft here through the first 3 rounds we've seen. CMC as RB1, Bijan RB2, Breece Hall RB3, Saquon RB4 in the first, then Jonathan Taylor and Jahmyr Gibbs as RB5 and 6. And to those teams, that was their second running backs. Devon Achane, man, touch early, I think, for me at RB7. Kyron Williams, RB8. Josh Jacobs to myself is RB9. RB10, Derrick Henry in the third. You are going wide receiver heavy here to start, and I dig it. AJ Brown to Mike at pick 12, pick 13, Drake London, pick 36, George Pickens, and then goes with a 4th wide receiver. Could have actually gone with Devontae and did a Philly thing there, although Jalen Hurts will probably be gone by the time it gets back to you. Jaden Reed as wide receiver 4 there for you. Wow, nice start with 4 wide receivers, and team 11 is doing the same thing. Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith. Both of you guys with 4 wide to start.
When I see George Pickens, Chris, I see Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant was able to post 88, 93, 92 receptions in Dallas, right in the middle of his career. 1,300, 1,200, 1,300 yards, and the touchdowns 16, 13, and 12. George Pickens, to me, has that same type of archetype. No more Deontay Johnson there. Yes, I like Roman Wilson coming in, tremendous as well, but I think that's going to take time. I think he's a huge value. There's a lot of uncertainty in the quarterback position, but it couldn't be any worse than it was last year. And he goes 63, 1,105. I am well aware that that was greatly influenced by a couple games at the end of the year. I get that, but he has the big playability. He's a mini DK Metcalf. He doesn't have the speed, but he's that same type of target. End zone, whether it's Russ Wilson, whether it's Fields, I like him. I think he's the clear alpha. I think we're looking at 80 to 90 receptions. I think we're looking at 1,200 yards and hopefully 7, 8 touchdowns somewhere in there. So I have a lot of exposure to George Pickens.
I dig it, man. I had a lot of exposure last year too, so I won a lot of consolation brackets. But as we talked about, he was a big part of a lot of people's success down the stretch, right? When they made the quarterback change to Mason Rudolph, his game really did take off, and now he is the clear-cut number one wide receiver in Pittsburgh with an upgrade at the quarterback position, whether it's Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. Look at pick team 10 here that goes Mahomes in the third and then Trey McBride over Travis Kelce. Would you have just gone Kelce there to kind of stack about have Kelce with Mahomes instead of McBride?
Yes, I would. That's my point. If you're going with Patrick Mahomes there, what you're saying is he is going to have a much better season than last year, and he's going to distinguish himself as an elite quarterback. Well, if he's doing that, and Rashee Rice is suspended at least 4, some are saying 8 games, who's catching the passes? So either you're wrong about Patrick Mahomes in that spot, or you should have taken Kelce. That is the sort of strategy I think people have to adapt. It's not just being consistent and having a team that you think is going to succeed. Chris, it's just like DFS. Last night, if you thought the Nuggets were going to lose to the Timberwolves, that's an inside track because you're doing a strategy and you're having some sort of consistency. I don't like that there. I would rather them really go all in on the Chiefs, which, as we saw last year and the year before, worked out pretty well.
Man, it's pretty crazy what is happening to the Nuggets, and a lot of respect to the Timberwolves and their defense, but we haven't seen Denver this flustered in 2 years, 2+ years. They haven't been this flustered, and they just looked defeated last night, man. It was crazy to watch.
It was the bench. They don't bench. That's the problem. Yeah. And they're running into a team that can limit Jamal Murray.
Okay, so I'll probably just have a lot of shares of Joe Mixon this year. James Cook, Joe Mixon. I know that Mixon is the goal line back. James Cook is not going to get a lot of rushing touchdowns. Rashad White, a ton of touches, but Tampa's been dead last in rushing over the past couple of years. I already have Mike Evans. I'm just going to go Mixon here as my RB2. I don't know, man. Like, I know he's not super efficient. This is 2 drafts now where I've taken Joe Mixon. But I think that he still has RB1 potential, and getting him in the 5th after guys like, I don't know, I like Pacheco as well. Probably not going to catch as many passes. Travis Etienne certainly going to catch a ton of passes as well. Like, do we see a little bit more from Tank Bigsby this year? You know, Doug Peterson said it last year. He was clearly lying, and he said it again this year. Got to get more touches for Tank Bigsby. It's like, is that something that's going to happen, or what do you think?
I've been taking flyers on Tank Bigsby. If you're not sold on Travis Etienne and you think Jacksonville, by the way, it's a pretty easy schedule for opposing projected win totals. I like I like Bigsby. It's about saying, boy, no one's going to want him, but there's a path. There's a path, Chris, for him to have a huge season, a James Cook-like season, 1 injury away. Because Travis Etienne got a ton of opportunity.
A ton, yeah. I thought we would see more goal line work from Bigsby, especially. I thought that Etienne struggled as a goal line back a couple years ago, but he was pretty good as a goal line back this year. But injuries have kind of caught up to him over the past couple of years, so I think that's what Doug Peterson's thinking is. When he was with the Eagles, I mean, he used so many different running backs. I never had a bell cow back. I just feel like maybe this is the year where there's a little bit more Bigsby, and we talked about that, just taking upside running backs, next man up sort of running backs. Anthony Richardson goes there in the 5th. So it's pretty consistent seeing him as quarterback 6. Mahomes as quarterback 1 here in the 3rd. Then in the 4th, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson back-to-back. And then Jalen Hurts to round out round 4. And then we saw CJ Stroud there and Anthony Richardson. You're on on deck here as we wrap up round 5. I definitely think the Richardson price is fair. There's certainly some risk. Xavier Worthy goes there. It's pretty expensive piece there, just ahead of Terry McLaurin. Do we think Xavier Worthy is a 1,000-yard wide receiver immediately in the NFL?
Hold that thought.
Let you pick. Man,
Here.
you are wide receiver heavy, and I just love it. I love everything that's happening here. Terry McLaurin to round out pick 5, and then you're going to get us underway with a quarterback, pick 6, Jordan Love. Nice.
Yeah, there's 3 wide receivers that were available to me right now within 4 spots of each other in ADP. First was Xavier Worthy. Right behind him was Marquise Brown. 2 spots behind him was Rashee Rice. Now, I got Rashee Rice last time we did this draft, but I'd rather stack Packers. I believe in the Packers offense. I think what we saw at the end of the last year is not a fluke. I think they're going to build on that. I think Jordan Love is an MVP candidate. I took Jaden Reed, who I think is going to have a monster season. We got Christian Watson in a couple picks who has the injury issue. So if I can steal Romeo Doubs late, I will do that and give me a nice double stack there. I want to have a solid quarterback, and I will take Jordan Love over a running back right now because I do believe in this Green Bay offense. But Chris, don't take him from me. I also have an interest in Marshawn Lloyd as the running back late for me as well. I am all in on this Packers team this year.
Yeah, you saw I have Josh Jacobs then. Yeah, I'm into. It's an exciting offense. It's a young offense. It was the youngest wide receiver tight end room in all of football last year. Just 2 rookie tight ends, a rookie wide receiver in Jaden Reed, and then the 2 sophomores in Doubs and Christian Watson, and then they add Marshawn Lloyd, who I don't know, man. Like when I watched the film on Lloyd, I could make a case for him being the best back in this draft. He's explosive. With the ball in his hands, he can make things happen. And it just over the last 4 years is in multiple injuries, but he's the type of running back that if anything happened to Josh Jacobs, it would be him that we're gushing over, not AJ Dillon. You know what I mean? Like he's already ahead of AJ Dillon, and he's got more to offer than AJ and a higher ceiling there. So I do like him. We'll see. I'll go Joe Burrow here if I can get him. Go with T Higgins, little Burrow. 100%. It's funny how I passed on Chase early. It would have been really like that actually. I'll Burrow right before me. Get out of here. Get out of here. Little snake job. Well, it looks like we're going to have a mini stack. Jordan Addison. Yeah, we'll do Addison. I wanted Burrow. Whew. It's easier to get that stack. If you pick near the top, you can get Chase, and then you can get Higgins. He's falling, man. Like pick 46 here.
Yeah, and that's a condensed target. And they have a fairly easy schedule. Let me pull that up of opponents. Of course, we don't have that. Looks like it's going to come next week, but I've been working on this now. Here's their schedule, home and away, for the Bengals. Where is it? Yeah. So they got Ravens, Browns, Steelers, fine. Here are the home games. Broncos, Raiders, Eagles, Commanders, Patriots. Very winnable. Raiders, Commanders, Patriots. Very winnable teams. On the road, yes, Ravens, Browns, Steelers, fine. At Dallas, at the Chiefs, always a good battle. At the Chargers, not intimidating. At the Giants, at the Titans, at the Panthers. So the Bengals have a decent schedule where they should be able to put up some points. Just as a point of comparison, their schedule is 16 games easier projected win totals than Pittsburgh, 14 games easier than the Browns, and 11 games easier than the Ravens. So in that division, the Bengals are the way to go.
Wow. Any other teams that caught your eye when you were looking at schedules? I know you dropped
Sure.
the Titans and the Falcons, or you mentioned the Falcons and the Saints, of course, of the division.
Patriots have a brutal schedule. There are no more friendly Patriot games, which could be good for their offense, by the way. There are away games, Bills, Dolphins, Jets, of course, at Arizona, at Jacksonville, at San Francisco, at the Bengals, at the Bears, could be tough. Titans away. So, and then teams that visit them as well. Texans visit them, not easy. Rams visit them, Seahawks. So they have a really tough schedule. One of the other easier ones, Jets have a pretty friendly schedule, Chris.
Okay.
Outside the division, Texans, Colts, Rams, Seahawks, Broncos home. But here's the away ones. Cardinals away, Titans away, Vikings away, Jaguars away, Niners, and Steelers. So not as hard as you would think, because the Patriots now are only projected for 4.5 wins.
Yeah, 4 of those 6, pretty appealing there. Patriots 4.5 wins. I saw the Broncos 4.5 wins as well. I was considering the under on that, but maybe they'll win 5. I don't know.
When will I take a running back, Chris?
I was just wondering. Actually, I was going to tee you up. We just seen a couple of good ones here go in the 7th. Man, there's some appealing ones though, like even Aaron Jones. And I know the line is bad, but Aaron Jones is not on my radar. He's the guy that gets hurt. But 6th round, Rachaad White. 7th, but Dave Montgomery, Zamir White here in the 7th round, I think is terrific value for the Hero RB people. You're coming up, and we have had some teams that look similar to your build. We had team 4 with 4 wide receivers to start, and then team 11 has been, I mean, you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers to start. You're on the clock. Team 11 went 6 wide receivers to start. The last couple, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, just takes his first quarterback, and Dak Prescott, I think good value for Dak there too. Like you could do a Dak, of course, if you get CeeDee Lamb, great. Raheem Mostert, nice. You could do some sort of Dak, and we'll see if team 11 takes Ferguson next. That would be a pretty smart move, I think, for team 11. To go Dak and
back
Ferguson.
again.
You're back
on the Najee Harris train. It's a contract year. They didn't pick it up. They're going to run him into the ground. And Chris, Jaylen Warren is not a goal line back. Jaylen Warren is a change of pace guy, and he did a very nice job last year. But Harris came on pretty strong at the end of the year, even though that offense again was terrible.
Absolutely. And as soon as we were done the stream last week, he was, that news came that he was, they didn't pick up his option. And I agree. They're just going to run him into the ground. Everyone loves Warren, but couldn't agree more that Najee's the goal line back. And he did come on strong last year when there's a quarterback that can help move the ball. You know what I mean? Like you need a quarterback to move the ball, or you can't run the football. And nobody was taking Trubisky and Rudolph and Kenny Pickett seriously. Russ had a good season last year, and so did Fields. Team 11 ended up going with Dak. I like that little mini stack, man. Like heavy wide receiver for Team 11. It'll be interesting to see what running backs they get, and then getting Dak in the 7th and pairing him up with Jake Ferguson there in the 8th. It's I dig it. I don't know about all those wide receivers, but I definitely dig the last couple of picks there. We're getting into some running back targets. So Raheem Mostert to you. Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, man, good value, I think, in the 8th there. Zach Moss in the 8th. The Bengals didn't do anything running back related, and in the draft, I think maybe they took one out like round 6 potentially, but Zach Moss and Chase Brown, these guys, Chase Brown probably be soon to go just after Tony Pollard there as well. Christian Watson and DeAndre Hopkins here in the 8th. A little bit of a rookie run, Adunze in to round out the 6th. Adunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Keon Coleman, Lad McConkey, 4 of them in a row. Do you have a preference of any of those 4? How would you rank those guys?
No preference. And people have asked me, Chris, about handcuffing backfields. I have no interest in handcuffing Connor and Trey Benson right here because they are so close together. I don't want to spend a pick in round 8 or round 9, who every week is not going to score for me. So I'm fine handcuffing if there's a significant separation between running backs, but people have asked about that before. I don't know. I get Pollard and Swift I'm not interested in because I'm a Roschon Johnson guy, but
my first share of I'm not into Swift either. Roschon seems buried. Maybe it's Khalil Herbert that's buried, but tough signing for those guys, especially Roschon Johnson.
All I know is it's not going to be what we think it is. That's all I can tell you. That right now we think it's Swift and the other 2 don't matter. It could be Herbert. You're right. I don't think it's that easy.
No, it's not that easy. My first share of Jaden Daniels here in best ball. You could see, we'll keep an eye on this, Mike, to see right now the ADP is 113. That's pick 94. As I mentioned, when we started the show, when we were looking at quarterbacks, he was quarterback 9. I think he went even earlier than this. So I'm interested to see, because Anthony Richardson this time last year was that big riser. He was a guy that I saw an Underdog as quarterback 13, 14, 15 on average for the first month or so. And I feel like he jumped up to like quarterback 8 on average when we got real close to the NFL season last year.
Yeah, for sure he did. I'm a little disappointed that Njoku went. He is my classic tight end target in round 9 every single time. He had 81 receptions last year with really rough quarterback play.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Flacco. He had a good season. He had a good season. I think I took him last time we were out here. So we are in round 9 for those just joining us. Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Draft here live on our FTN YouTube page. Chris Meaney and Mike Randle here with you. Promo code FTN. Underdog Fantasy will match your first deposit 100% up to $100. You do as many drafts as you want. This one is the Best Ball Mania 5, 25 to enter, $15 million in prizes, 1.5 million to first. You're going to get your money back and then some if you finish inside the top 112,000. There's 670,000 people going to be in this contest when it does fill up. Draft and forget it. No waiver wire stuff. You're going to take your best quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, flex, tight end for the week. 18 rounds here, as I mentioned, and 10 bench spots. So we are wrapping up round 9. Now we're getting into more running backs. Heavy wide receiver draft to start. Only 4 running backs in the first round, 4 more in the second, just the 2 in the fourth. 1 quarterback in the fourth, first one off the board, Patrick Mahomes, Sam Laporta first, tight end off the board. So heavy wide receiver draft. And Adonai Mitchell goes to team 10 Colts there. So what are you thinking here as you're coming up?
I want Brian Robinson and Romeo Doubs.
Well, there you go. You're going to
And
be
I'm
able
going
to
to
get
get
them
them both. Brian Robinson, who I love, goal line touchers, also was good at the backfield. I'm not scared of Austin Eckler. I think Robinson is the goal line back. And Romeo Doubs, give me that Packers stack. I will do it. Very happy with that there. So what I'm basically, by making this decision, Chris, just to explain to everyone, again, you have to decide what you want, what you don't. I am bumping tight end. If I had David Njoku there, I would have taken David Njoku over Doubs. I would have done that. But I don't see a huge difference between the rest of the tight ends, so I'd rather wait on that. And I got myself an extension. I have 6 solid wide receivers now. I can now fill in some rookie running backs, try to get some guys as a flyer, late round players as well. And I'll get that second quarterback at some point. But because I took Jordan Love early, I'm not sure, Chris, if I'm going to go 3 QBs because I'm basically needing a huge season from Jordan Love, almost an MVP top 5 season. If I don't get that, I'm in trouble anyway. So I don't want to hedge my bet. I want to go all in and hope it works out. That's what you do. For years, no one wanted to take Christian McCaffrey. They say he's injury prone. Well, when he's not injury prone, he's the RB1. So you have to try to stay consistent to what you're doing here. So I'm in on Green Bay. I'm with them. I'm going to have to bump tight end. I think I'll get some decent value from my running backs, and I'll wait for the second quarterback.
Yeah, that's the strategy that I love to take as well, man, is load up on these wide receivers. You got good value here in Raheem Mostert for sure. Like 17, 18 touchdowns last year. You
Just
got
give me
goal line
10.
backs.
Just give me half of what you
Yeah, for sure. Harris and Robinson, good goal line backs there. And shooting for upside at this point of the draft and, towards the end, upside flyers at the running back position. Nick Chubb in round 10 there, nice. Gus Edwards in round 10. Like, these are good values here, man. Like, especially Gus Edwards. I think he's a great target here. Zach Moss. So, a lot of teams are taking this kind of approach with heavy wide receivers to start and taking some value, next man up type of running backs. You mentioned Trey Benson earlier. Are you surprised that Trey Benson went ahead of James Conner?
Yes. I think James Conner gets a ton of disrespect because they view him as a plotter and they view him as older than he is. And there's uncertainty in the Arizona offense, but you should not be taking Trey Benson ahead of James Conner. I know he has missed games, but I also know that when he plays, he is a top 10 running back every single week.
Yeah, every week for sure. We are in on a full Minnesota stack here, so I'm going to have to get JJ and hope that this guy plays all the season. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. Where is McCarthy going here? We'll see if we can get him. I mean, I know he hasn't quarterback 25. So we got a little bit here to go. We should maybe pull the trigger by the time it gets back to me. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I don't want to go full rookie quarterback. There's a lot of risk there. I got Jaden Daniels here. So good call by you. Anytime you get a top 10 quarterback, there's no need to get that third one. You're right. You're hoping for another top 10. I mean, Jordan Love, I think, was quarterback 5 or 6 in terms of fantasy points per game last year. Hoping for that type of season. And for me, I probably will have to get a third at some point, especially if I'm rocking 2 rooks. We'll go with Jahan Dotson, get the first stack complete here.
Very good.
with Jaden Daniels. So team for me so far, we'll take a look at this, the draft board: Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Josh Jacobs, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, Jordan Addison, Chris Godwin, Jaden Daniels, James Conner, TJ Hawkins, and Jahan Dotson. So a little mini stack there with Daniels and Dotson. I got a lot of mini going on here with Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, and Addison. So we'll have to target JJ McCarthy. And then I have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I kind of fell into that last time as well. So maybe we'll try to get some Baker in our lives here as we creep closer to round 11. So you're looking at some high upside running backs here now?
Yeah, I think Jerome Ford is being suppressed way too much. We don't know that Nick Chubb is definitely going to be ready for week 1. And when he comes back after that awful injury, are we just not going to play Jerome Ford? I think he's going to mix in. So I'm kind of hoping Jerome Ford hangs around because he could, Chris, get me off to a decent start. And I still think he's relevant in a 65-35 touch share, even when Chubb is back. And if Chubb has a setback or something happens, Jerome Ford is the RB1 behind a massive offensive line.
Yeah. And you know what? They must like him because they didn't draft any running backs.
Correct.
I know they brought in a couple like flyers at the running back position, maybe Deontay Foreman, but yeah, they didn't bring anybody in. And I don't think Nick Chubb is going to be ready. I know the latest I heard is that he's progressing, but there's still no timetable for him, which is not what you want to hear. And it's a significant injury, so it's going to take a bit of time. I like the call for Jerome Ford. Zeke here in the 11th is terrific as well. Goal line backs, right? If you shoot for upside at this point, or maybe some guys that are going to get some touches near the goal line, and Zeke is certainly going to get them. Tony Pollard, guys, was second in the NFL in red zone rushing attempts last year, and he struggled in that role. Zeke still has some short yardage ability to his game.
Oh, that
Jerome Ford.
Oh.
Right in front of you. Oh. You see Marshawn Lloyd there. Jalen Wright.
Yeah, we'll pivot. No problem.
Blake Corum.
Well, the Jalen Wright is an easy pick because I took Mostert. So this is the area where you can handcuff. Ouch, that hurts.
Wow, so you got a good piece of Miami's backfield. This is nice. I like the right pick more than Ford. Higher ceiling for you.
When in doubt, go all in, right? There we go.
Oh, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Randle's Green Bay Packers. Jaden Reed in the 4th. Jordan Love in the 6th. Romeo Doubs in the 10th. Yep. Touchdown machine. Just throw it up to him. And then we get Luke Musgrave in the 12th. I dig it. Man, how impressive was Jordan Love down the stretch of the season and into the playoffs? This guy looked like a seasoned vet.
Yeah, he did. He was making great throws, and that's an offense that's not going to be run heavy, even though Josh Jacobs is there, because Jacobs can catch passes out of the backfield. I do think Lloyd is going to be an issue as well. I passed on him there because I felt I needed to take a tight end, and I didn't want to go tight end and running back. That's a little too much for me. But the pass catchers, yeah, and I think they can score, and I think he can get up and down the field, and I think that is a decent also division to attack. Vikings, okay. Bears, yes, I get it, but at home, those should be no problem. And Detroit, they tried to upgrade their defense, but I still think it's easier to pass on them than run.
Yeah, definitely. So some pretty good options here at the tight end position, as 14 have been off the board, roughly 15 or so. Cole Kmet, tight end 15. Of course, there's a lot going on there in Chicago. Hunter Henry, it's like, do you want a piece of New England? But geez, he may lead the team in catches. I don't know. Tight end 19 there. And we just saw Cole Kmet go. Isaiah Likely, Kate Otten. So there's a couple of options there, but I think now you got the end of the tier, I would say, with Luke. Much better, I think a higher ceiling than what we see so far on the tight end board. Wide receivers, Jerry Judy's there. I do need a 4th running back, but probably won't do that just yet. Purcell, Wicks, Franklin, Quentin Johnson, Mooney. Oh, man, not crazy about this situation. Marshawn Lloyd, do I just take the Green Bay backfield like you did with Miami?
Sure, I have no problem. You have enough of a variance now in round basically 13 and around 12 that I think it's reasonable.
Not crazy about any of these wide receivers. Judy, Leggett, Purcell, Wicks, Franklin, Quentin Johnson, Darnell Mooney, maybe. Wilson's actually I probably would rank the Wilson guys ahead of those names I just mentioned, like Michael Wilson, the number 2. He's he looks decent. Marv's getting all the run and the play, and Trey McBride. I get it, but who's the third option there? Like Kyler's going to pass the ball around the field.
Excellent pick. Yes, at this point.
Oh, I didn't do it, but I just thought about it. Yeah. We're into round 12. Maybe I'll do it on the other side here. We will have to start thinking about quarterbacks here. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta, that just throws me off.
Yep. Word. Just a thought. At home last year, teams with most passing attempts per game at home: Dallas, Kansas City, Minnesota, the Jets, Chargers, Green Bay. So Green Bay ends up being 6th most pass attempts at home, followed by Cincinnati, Cleveland, the Patriots, of course. Some of those are by design, and some of those because they had negative game script.
Right. Yeah. I definitely like Matt LaFleur as a play caller. I think he's a good play caller. Roman Wilson, Michael Wilson. So I'm probably gonna go Baker, man. I'm probably gonna reach a touch.
That'll be your second QB. That's fine. Leaving you with 5 picks after that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Baker just in case. I got two Bucs wide receivers in Evans and Godwin. He may not be back on the way. He's probably not going to be back. There's going to be a couple quarterbacks that are going to go. It sucks to take him over Kirk Cousins, but I got no Falcons there and a little bit of a buck stack happening. But man, I really do like those Wilson wide receivers here in round 12, round 13. I think I'm with you on Pickens as the clear one, but volume and opportunity is king in fantasy, and Wilson there is the number 2 wide receiver. And I already heard Tomlin talk him up, man, with a big smile on his face. That does get my attention. And then Michael Wilson here as a sophomore wide receiver in what is going to be a young Kansas City or young Arizona offense this season with Kyler at the helm. Okay, so you're coming back up here at the end of round 13 and 14.
Yes, staring at quarterbacks here. Trying to get the second. I wonder if I can pull that off. That's a good question. Still like the running backs. There's still a lot of running back value, guys, I can pick off late here.
Yeah, running backs on the board: J.K. Dobbins, Chuba Hubbard, Ray Davis. We got Vidal of the Chargers there, Algier of the Falcons, Antonio Gibson, Bucky Irving, Jaleel McLaughlin, Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson. Like those 2 Bears backs at running back 56 and 57, like pick your poison, take your shot. Why not? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like for people that are looking for running backs in this range, because we both have questions about DeAndre Swift. And he's never been a goal line back, man. He wasn't in Detroit. He wasn't in Philly. They used Jalen Hurts. I'm not convinced that he's going to be the goal line back for Caleb Williams and the Bears this year. It could be somebody else.
Yeah.
All right. Mike is on the clock here.
Cade Otton is the only game in town, so I'll take him there.
Nice. I like Otton. Carved up the Eagles in the playoffs. Couldn't stop them. Couldn't stop tight ends all year long. Kirk Cousins, good value here for Cousins in the 13th here to team 6. At the first quarterback. Yeah, first quarterback, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I would have
Wilson. There you go.
Yeah, I would have taken Ray Davis. He was there, but he went right before me, which I think is the 3rd pick that has gone directly in front of me. But that's why I'm going with Wilson. I would have taken, because I think Ray Davis has a very easy path if there's an injury there to James Cook to get touches, but the rest of them to me are all the same. So I only have 4 running backs now. That's fine. I'll pick up a couple flyers late, but I do have a full set of 7 wide receivers.
Yes, you do. I got 6. I'll be looking for another one. Burton was a guy that I had my eye on there. Hawkinson is my tight end. Don't even know if he's going to be fully ready to go to start the season. Cade Otton is a good one. I had my eye on him as another buck. Davion Sanders may take a little bit of time too. Tucker Kraft, like these guys. Kraft was decent when Luke Musgrave was out, but Luke's definitely the one there. I think Chico Conquo is an interesting late tight end target. What do you think about Jonnu Smith? Like, is he going to have a role in Miami's offense? They just brought in Odell Beckham Jr.
Almost took him. Yeah, the argument is that he doesn't use tight ends, but you didn't pay Jonnu Smith to come over to not give him anything. So I'm fine with Jonnu Smith right now as a second tight end, especially this late. I think they're going to use him.
I think they're going to use him too. He can get on the field and block.
I mean, everybody was afraid of Kyle Pitts last year, and Jonnu Smith basically outproduced him on a week-to-week basis.
Not basically, he did. Yeah. I think he did. Yeah, it's crazy talk. Four running backs. I get a wide receiver in here. Corley could, man. Mike Evans is one injury away from maybe a retirement, unfortunately. Odell, Malik, Tyler Boyd, Isaiah Likely. Man, I'd like to see him get some more run. I'm going to take Likely, actually. I'm going to take a high upside tight end here.
Loved him last year. He was great for me.
Do you think they'll use him more this year? Like, they have to. He's such a weapon. Use both of these guys. They lost Odell. They didn't draft anybody in significance.
Sure.
They brought back Bateman. It's just I know it's a run first offense, but they should find a way to use him a little bit more.
Well, you're getting him right now that you don't even need. You just need a couple usable weeks. You get 3 usable weeks out of Isaiah Likely, and the pick is paid off.
Yeah. I mean, you hope Andrews doesn't go down, but yeah, I mean, we already know that Likely's a top 5 tight end. The upside is there if there's no Andrews.
Sure.
Okay, I can't do JJ McCarthy just yet, right? He's still got Stafford and Watson on the board, but it would suck to miss out on JJ after having all these Vikings.
If you're in for $1, in for £1, right?
Looking at the teams ahead, there's several. There's just one quarterback. You got one quarterback. I'm doing it. I'm gonna set the min price. I'm gonna set the min. I'm gonna make Mike throw up here a little bit with JJ McCarthy.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I got to get my sack, right? There's nothing worse than not getting the stack. I'll get 3 pass catchers in Minnesota. I can't have the quarterback. Come on. All right, touch early. We only got a couple more rounds though. I've done this before. I think we did it last year with Jordan Love, where it was like Watson and Reed. I had a lot of Reed last year because he went super late, right? It was Watson who was going early, and then it was Doubs, and then it was Reed. And even Jordan Love was going late. And I remember doing a live stream here, and a bunch of people were hanging out, a couple Packers fans. And I said, guys, I think I'm just going to wait here for Jordan Love. I think I can get him on the way back. It's possible. Got this Packers stack, but I'm going to wait for it. And it was one pick, just like you with Ford, one pick in front of me, and it was just the worst feeling.
Yeah, because you see it. That's why sometimes I don't like looking ahead, because I don't want to get my hopes up. I'd rather wait. Are they going to let Matthew Stafford fall to me here? Are they really going to let that happen and round?
And really, like, he's going to have a better fantasy season than McCarthy, than Aaron Rodgers, I think, Baker Mayfield, I think. I mean, if he stays healthy and Cooper Kupp is healthy, he's a borderline top 15 quarterback.
Is Ben Pollock going to do it to me again? Is he going to, the 4th time, is he going to do this?
Ben Pollock's watching the stream, I think.
I
mean, he's got Puka. He's got Dak already. This team here could do it. Oh, no, he's got Mahomes and Richardson. He's not. Mahomes and Richardson. What do you think about that? I feel like it's just kind of a waste. Like two borderline top 5 quarterbacks in your first 6 picks. Like, you only have one of them in your lineup.
All right, Ben, you going to do it to me for a 4th time in this draft? I mean, this would be uncanny. I know people get sniped. It happens. No big deal. But 4 times by the same guy?
I've been sniped too much here. Javon Baker, you're good to go. So Matthew Stafford, nice.
I mean,
I think I reached on all of them, which sucks. Actually, the McCarthy one doesn't seem like too big of a reach according to ADP 180, 171, but get your guy and you move on. Still some high upside running backs here for a 5th. You're on the clock. You got 2 quarterbacks, 4 backs, 7 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. I have 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, and 6 wide receivers. My wide receivers are kind of like that, but I like to have another stud. Didn't work out. Tracy, okay, nice. No, there's your rookie upside path is decently clear for him.
Same with Jalen Wright, who's buried, but you never know with an injury.
Yeah. Some high upside running backs here. Dobbins is just not for me. Unfortunately, just cannot stay healthy. McLaughlin is not for me either. There seems to be a lot going on in Denver. There is a lot going on in Chicago, but we're showing Johnson here. Keaton Mitchell is interesting. Dameon Pierce fell out of the offense last year behind Singletary, and they brought in Mixon. Elijah Mitchell's like that. The 2 Niners here is like in case anything happens to CMC. I would suppose it's Mitchell. Grendo is a nice prospect, a nice piece, but a nice dynasty piece. Not so much this year, I don't think. And then again, Estimine, another Bronco running back. Braylon Allen has a path, I think, and Will Shipley. I think Will Shipley could leapfrog Kenneth Gainwell pretty quickly, actually. Looking at some wide receivers, Demarcus Robinson's actually a guy that I like.
See, those are the type of guys I love, Chris, to take at the end of drafts. People love those high upside rookies. I love the Tyler Boyds, Dawson Knox, Demarcus Robinson, Adam Thielen's here because you know you will get usable weeks. I prefer to take the risk a little earlier and late. I love the safety of those because I want players that I know are going to use usable weeks. I don't want to have high risk at the end because the players in the middle, there could be a huge reward like Raheem Mostert last year, or it could just be nothing. You could have a Frank Gore season where you just don't do anything. I like to take some more risks in the middle rounds, and I prefer the safety like DJ Chark, those type. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Robinson was pretty decent down the stretch, actually. He was a part of that offense, Rams offense. Oh, yeah, for sure. And Cooper Kupp at this point of his career and age, the injuries have been there for him over the past couple of years. So, I mean, Robinson could potentially be the number 2 in a high octane, up tempo offense led by Sean McVay. So, I mean, I'm with you on that one. And, I got DJ Chark here, like highlighted as a guy who hasn't been really able to stay healthy. But I think we had this conversation last week. Quentin Johnson still raw year 2. Joshua Palmer has stepped up and been okay, sure, at times, and Keenan and Mike Williams went, but there's a lot of targets that are gone, and Lab McConkey's a nice little piece, of course, in the slot. I'm excited about him, but he is a rookie after all. Who is the deep threat guy in this offense is DJ Chark, and Herbert's got a cannon, and they're going to run the football quite a bit this year. Could run some play action. If Chark could stay healthy, man, he's a guy that may fall into like 7 or 8 touchdowns, and it's a big if because I'm looking here at the back of his football card. Doesn't play a whole lot. 35 grabs last year, 30 but he also hasn't been with a good quarterback in a couple of years. I don't think since Detroit, right?
Yeah, and I'm curious how Herbert's going to do this year. Obviously won't have the same level of volume, but he could be super efficient. And if he takes those occasional deep shots, it's going to be DJ Chark. You're getting him around 17. I mean, give Chris 2 top 15 wide receiver weeks, and he'll be thrilled with that.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a couple touchdowns. Start the year strong. Get some 4 or 5 touchdowns.
70 yards, 2 touchdowns. Right, exactly.
Hopefully he doesn't pull a hammy, but if he has to disappear between week 4 and 9, all right, I'll deal with it. And then down the stretch of the season, get him back into the lineup. And Brendan Rice, of course, Jerry's son, just goes after him as a new young Charger too. So it's going to be a different looking offense. But it's certainly gonna be run heavy, and I'm with you, man. Like I'm not really. I don't know if you're in or out on Herbert, but I'm out because I just don't think the pass attempts will be there and the lack of weapons. But maybe that creates an opportunity to buy for Herbert. But I'm curious to see what those attempts will look like and how efficient he'll be able to be this year.
I saw the rumor on social media: Damian Pierce going to the Chargers. Imagine that trade.
Oh, I think Pierce is I think he's a good back, but man, what happened? He just fell out of.
Yeah,
I know there's a new regime there in Houston, but
there goes Dawson Knox. That's a good pick.
Yeah, he wasn't part of it. Mike Gesicki and Dawson Knox there. So a couple tight ends in a row. 3 tight ends for this team. Pat Freiermuth on the squad as well. Tyler Conklin to looks like team 9. They got Aaron Rodgers on that squad. Nope. Second tight end. So a lot of people are kind of getting their second tight ends here. Some rolling with 3. I normally don't roll with 3 unless I'm just, taking some flyers outside of top 15 and really punting the position. But
see, now the question is, who am I taking that's going to give me usable weeks? That is the question.
Yeah. What do we got here for you?
Usable weeks.
More rookie running backs and sophomores and Bigsby. Samaje, got Odell Beckham there, Malik Washington, 2 Miami wideouts. I don't blame you. A.T. Perry, do you have a Saints thing going on? No, you were just joking. You were just joking about that.
Get out of here. I don't know why I've become this Saints hater. I don't.
These will be your final 2 picks, so choose wisely as you are on the clock.
They got to get Tank Bigsby going.
There it is, Tank Bigsby. That's the high upside back. I like that. He was going much earlier this time last year. People were thinking he was going to get touches, man. I saw him like 8th round, 9th round, 10th round.
Who else can be a usable week? Tight end. I usually go with this one. I'll finish it with that. On the carpet indoors. You know, always got to do is break one or two.
Yeah. A change of scenery might be good for him. Rondell Moore. Atlanta's offense is going to look a whole lot different, man, with Kirk Cousins there under center and Rondell Moore and Meaney now on the squad as the deep threat guy. I was thinking too, like, because it's going to look a lot like the Rams and Vikings, like the personnel, like with Raheem Mostert, and he brought over some players that were with McVay, and of course Kevin McConnell was with McVay, and Kirk Cousins coming from Kevin McConnell. So it's going to look very similar. And I was trying to think, like, when he went there, I was like, man, are they going to draft a burner? But they decided to go with Meaney. I wish they would have drafted a burner, but he's going to be the vertical threat. It's going to be a very familiar offense for Kirk Cousins and Rondell Moore there in the slot. Nice.
You know, it was something I thought of doing too. And if I only had one quarterback, I would have done it. But Stafford was too good to pass up on. If I did not get Stafford, I would have done this. I double tap Wilson and Justin Fields because I believe in the Pittsburgh offense. I believe in the Steelers this year. Last year, they had good pieces. They just couldn't produce. They still have weapons there. I have a big year with George Pickens coming. I don't mind that double tap because to me, it's such a consolidated quarterback room, and whoever is there, I think is going to produce. And I think there's a very good chance it's eventually Justin Fields.
It's crazy to me that he is like quarterback 27. Like, how could you not in a best ball draft? How could you not take shots on this guy with your last pick? Like, we already know what the ceiling looks like. We already know his upside is quarterback 5. We already know that. We've seen it before. He even really gelled with DJ Moore. We saw it. And whether he's the starting quarterback or not, if it is him, it's probably him towards the end of the season when it matters. This guy could be a top 10 quarterback for you down the stretch of the season. It's
100%.
good value,
and the rushing ability. I mean, you're not going to I also thought about Daniel Jones there, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. They're starting quarterbacks. Bryce Young. Can Canales fix Bryce Young? Everybody loved Bryce Young last year, and they like CJ Stroud, and CJ Stroud was great. Maybe this year it's going to be Bryce Young.
Yeah. I just think, how could you not? Bryce Young goes here, and I think he's one of the bigger winners in the NFL draft. I didn't love Carolina's draft in particular, but I thought that he was a big winner because they got some skilled players for him anyways. They have a lot of holes, but they grabbed, Jatavian Sanders and Leggett and Brooks. They got some guys who can make things happen with the ball in their hands. Okay, so let's take a look at this draft. It's over here. Okay, we'll go with you here. You started in the 12th spot, of course. AJ Brown, heavy wide receiver. AJ Brown, Drake London, George Pickens, Jaden Reed, Terry McLaurin. Love the value in Terry too, round 5 here. Jordan Love is your QB1, and then you got into some running backs here in Raheem Mostert, Najee Harris, and Brian Robinson Jr., all goal line backs, and really run first squads. And say Miami's probably not, but they're just so good running the football. Romeo Doubs there, so you got a Packers thing going on. Love it. Jalen Wright, you got the Miami backfield, basically 2 of the 3 guys there. Luke Musgrave to continue with the Packers stack. Cade Otton, nice upcoming tight end. Michael Wilson is the number 2 wide receiver in Arizona. Matthew Stafford fell to you here in the 15th round. Terrific, man. Going after Deshaun Watson, JJ McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield. Love it. Tyron Tracy Jr. In round 16. Tank Bigsby and Rondell Moore. Good draft, man.
If I'm going to wait on running backs, I want them to be the goal line backs, Chris, and the pivot point with Stafford. If Stafford give me 16 games, I think that's great value. If he doesn't, then that's a mistake, and I just should have waited and grabbed Daniel Jones / Justin Wilson, Russell Fields, whatever you want to call it at the end.
I've yet to get like a top 10 quarterback yet, and it feels weird. I'd like to maybe have one, but Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Josh Jacobs is how I started my draft, with T. Higgins as my wide receiver 3, Joe Mixon again as my second running back here. So not as heavy wide receiver as I really like to be, but 2 running backs in the first 5 rounds. Then back into the wide receivers, and Jordan Addison, Chris Godwin, Jaden Daniels, a touch of a reach. We'll see where he ends up landing once we get closer to NFL season. James Conner, I just thought that was pretty good value. He went after Trey Benson and Jalen Warren. This is the guy, I think you said it earlier, nobody wants James Conner, but he just makes things happen when he plays. TJ Hawkinson, Jahan Dotson, Marshawn Lloyd, Baker Mayfield, Isaiah Likely, JJ McCarthy, Demarcus Robinson, DJ Chark, some veteran wide receivers. Hopefully they can give me a couple good weeks. Braylon Allen there at the end. So another different stacks. Minnesota here with JJ McCarthy, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, and Justin Jefferson. Maybe one too many Vikings, but we'll see how that plays out. Mike Evans, Godwin, and Baker again. We have to get away from those guys next time out. And then we had a little mini Washington stack with Daniels and Jahan Dotson there. But I like my backs. I think they're okay. Jacobs is a workhorse. Lloyd, don't really like to handcuff either, but I'm okay with at that point of the draft. It's not like it's expensive handcuff with Lloyd at 12. And then Joe Mixon, James Conner, and Braylon Allen there, I guess.
And Addison could be the steal of the draft because McCarthy developing, whether it's Darnold, safe, short to intermediate route, a lot of yards after catch, a lot of speed, can definitely get open. That could be a great pick. Love that pick.
All right, we'll wrap up here. Just, looking at, say, Team 11, who had a very similar start as you, Puka, Marv, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice. So heavy wide receivers, gets into Dak, Jake Ferguson. Doesn't draft a running back until round 9 with Devin Singletary, Chase Brown, Jerome Ford, Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard. I like your build a whole lot more. And you guys had a very similar start. I like your running backs a lot more. I'm not crazy about any of these backs that he has. They're okay, but I think your backs have higher ceilings and stronger floors. There's another team here I wanted to take a look at was Team 4, Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, James Cook, Joe Burrow, Evan Ingram, DeAndre Swift, David Njoku, back into the wide receivers, Shakir, and then Shaheed, Blake Corum, Kendre Miller. So heavy wide receivers and taking some high upside backs here. Algier, if anything happens to Bijan, we've already seen a 1,000-yard campaign from him. Kendre Miller, Kamara's getting older. Blake Corum there. Can Kyron stay healthy for a full season? Antonio Gibson, so Elijah Mitchell. So some high upside running backs. But again, same builds as you, but I think you nailed it with the backs.
Yeah, you have to hit. I usually am a year early sometimes on my picks. The Najee Harris one is the key. Najee is going to get 60% of those touches in an offense that I think is underrated, in an offense that I think is due for some positive regression, that just lost a huge pass catcher in Deontay Johnson. Yes, Jalen Warren's going to be the 2-minute drill. Yes, Jalen Warren's going to work in every third series. I get that. I don't think it's 50-50, and I think Najee Harris has all the motivation in the world. Give me a massive – thinking back to one of those massive no Sean Marino, he's not fast, but he produces a lot type seasons, and I'm golden.
You are. Love it. At Randle Rant, myself at Chris Meaney, FTNFantasy.com, all kinds of links inside the description of this video, ADP tools, FTN tools, best ball content, and it's just early on in draft season. It's May 7th here. We still are unsure of the NFL schedule. So when that comes out, we'll do another draft. Maybe we can chop it up again post schedule, and we'll take a look at what's happening between the championship weeks here. FTN promo code for you. They'll match your first deposit 100% up to $100. Mike, always a pleasure, dude.
You're the man.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers.